What is it you think I should have done beginning in January 31st of 2007, which is when I became chairman, that I didn't do?
Well, first of all, you pushed a stimulus bill through Congress that included several provisions that you later attacked as profoundly wasteful and so on, like
Who did?
AIG bonuses.
Wait a minute, you were talking about the subprime crisis. That you're talking about a bill in 2008 or?
And in 2008, in October, you accused critics of the stimulus plan of being racist and so on.
No, excuse me.
I'm still waiting for a very
and
simple answer.
I'm waiting for you to tell me what you think I should have done. I didn't say they were
You're
racist.
a public representative. I'm a student. I'm asking
you. Oh, so which allows you to say things that you don't back up.
I'm asking. It does allow me to ask you a question. I'm waiting for you to explain how much, if any, responsibility do you think you have?
Well, I will take this. First of all, you are a student. Students are entitled to full constitutional freedom of speech under the First Amendment. You've made an accusation that is wholly inaccurate.
I didn't accuse you of anything. I'm asking how much responsibility, if any. If you can say none, that's fine.
I think you're being disingenuous, to be honest, when you say you haven't made an accusation. You said it happened on my watch. Rarely, I've never heard anybody say, good for you, it happened on your watch. That's accusatory. You're entitled, look, you're entitled to be critical, but I am entitled to answer. The answer is, yes, I do take responsibility for something. In 2006, the Republican-appointed chairman of the SEC, who was forced out by George Bush because he was too much of a regulator, Bill Donaldson, tried to get control of, tried to make hedge funds register. The courts overturned him. They were right because he was bending the statute. He was right on public policy, wrong on the law. I immediately filed the bill in 2006 when I was still in the minority to say hedge funds should be registered. In 2007, I was approached by people who said, no, you can't do too much regulation, and I backed off. I wish I hadn't. But as far as your question that the subprime thing happened on my watch, I think it's fair to you to ask, what is it you think I should have done? You said, well, I was critical of a stimulus bill a year later, but that didn't cause the subprime crisis. My criticism of the stimulus bill, you mean people say, oh my God, he's being critical, let's default. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, the point, excuse me, here's what happened on my watch. I became chairman on January 3rd, and this is the right-wing attack on liberals to try and stop regulation that you are repeating. On January 31st, I became the chairman. On March 28th, the committee passed a very tough Freddie bill, which the Bush administration liked. Later that year in November, we passed a bill to restrict subprime lending. Because we did the subprime lending restriction, Ben Bernake, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, did what Alan Greenspan refused to do and said, okay, I'll do that. So I do want to ask you, when you suggest that I should apologize for something or take responsibility, what is it you think I should have done that I didn't do?
Well, after spending the entire speech blaming conservatives, I happen to think of myself as a conservative, and I rent, and I think of myself as someone who cares about poor people. I'm just interested in whether you think you have any responsibility.
Well, I've answered the question. Sir, I think you're not being fully honest with us. You clearly are implying that I do. And I'm asking you, I have given you my record. Now, what is it you think I should have done that I didn't do? What are you implying I left undone? It does seem to me a fair question to ask, given the way you asked your question.
Well, for example, I think that instead of using the TARP money to simply roll through AIG and use it to pay out other banks to which it owed other obligations, you could have monitored that before you chose to give them $700 billion.
Well, here's the deal. You're totally wrong on your facts. Congress did not vote to give AIG that money. What happened, again, by the way, that happened in September of 2008, well after the subprime crisis hit us. In September of 2008, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Bernake, and this is an example of the right-wing's effort, frankly, to try and change the subject from getting regulation.
Stop labeling him. Just answer the question.
I am labeling. I think labels are important. And I think that there is a systematic right-wing attack to try and divert the blame for that deregulation. In September of 2008, Chairman Bernake of the Federal Reserve came to the Congress and said, didn't ask for advice, informed us that he had decided under a statute that had been passed in 1932 to lend $85 billion to AIG. There was no congressional involvement in that at all. It's at that point that the bonuses had been paid. Federal money, 2 days later, Secretary Paulson of the Bush administration and Chairman Bernake came and said, if you don't give us authority for $700 billion, there will be terrible problems. We gave them authority for $350 billion with some restrictions. We told them they couldn't spend the second $350 until there was a chance for Congress to vote. But neither of those could arguably have anything to do with cause the subprime crisis. Now, I do believe that statute from 1932 is excessive. in the power it gives the Federal Reserve and should be changed. But I don't understand, again, you make a mistake when you say that we allowed the AIG money. It was the chairman of the Federal Reserve who did that on his own and told Congress, didn't ask us.